Hey everybody, it's Morgan coming to you live with the Gospel of Two Wheels here from Highland Cycles in Montrose, Colorado. Switching up the location again, we are in the shop now. The Nobby Lobby lost its wonderful table that I used to put my phone on as a camera, so we didn't lose it. We put it out at the base camp. Dan Malone, what is up, mailman? Yeah, so that table's out there. And the Nobby Lobby has the coolest old MX360 in it. So, so we're doing it from the shop. My phone is now resting in my toolbox in case you guys want to know how fancy we are. Jimmy Lewis is joining us. He's actually just texting me on my phone. So I'm going to try to do maybe a couple things. Actually, you know what? I'll be back in a second. So I started early. I'll be right back. Hang on. Hey, I'm back. Okay, so I just Jimmy Lewis is getting ready to join us. I'm assuming he'll be right at 7:30. Super stoked about that. Mike Barnato, what is going on? Jimmy Lewis, the famous Jimmy Lewis, editor of Dirt Rider. Now with Dirt Bike Test and super duper fast guy, or was super duper fast guy. He's going to argue that he's not anymore, but we all know that he is. Quick conditions report for Western Colorado. Holy moly, is it awesome. It is freaking phenomenal out there right now. Could not be any better. Willie Watts, what's happening? If you're not in Western Colorado, you need to be. Because the weather couldn't be any better. Dirt couldn't be any better. It's phenomenal. We are riding tonight, finally. Yes! Thursday night ride is actually going to happen. Super stoked about that. I can't. Oh, my gosh. 2 weeks now we haven't been able to do a Thursday night ride. Garrett Anderson, what's up? Javier, what's happening? So really, really excited about Thursday night ride tonight. Going to be out at Peach. Is it? Oh, I bet it's nice in Oklahoma. Right now, Willie, is one of the nicer times to be in Oklahoma. But in May, tornadoes. So careful. Watch it. You know that. But anyway, is it glorious here? We've had tons of moisture. So the dirt is really, really great. Very little dust. Shane McNabb, what's happening? So it's awesome. Base camp is rocking and rolling. Our third set of people is coming in tomorrow. It's booking up fast. So if you guys want to get a weekend or a week or something like that booked, let me know. You can let me know here, but I won't be able to do anything right now. So send me a message. We'll get you on the books. It's awesome. The small house will be ready hopefully after this weekend. So we'll have two places. Room rates, great idea. So Matt, Andreas, it has been beautiful weather. Hey, what's happening, Joel? $200 a night for the big house for up to 4 people. Past that, it goes to 30. There's an extra $35 per person per night over that. Oh, Jimmy is watching, and I believe he should send us a message here soon. Brady Meter, what's happening? If you guys have questions, hey, there's Jimmy. We're going to bring him in live. I agree, Daniel Malone. The best writing in the tire world is right here. I could not agree more. Jimmy is probably figuring out how to do this whole Facebook Live phone thing. It says he's adding right now. So we're going to be on here live very shortly. The weather here could be better. If you're around this part of the state tonight, come ride with us. 5:30 Peach Valley. We're going. It's going to be awesome. So, waiting on Jimmy to figure out his phone. I think this is thank you, Javier. Base camp is super nice. While we're waiting, $200 a night for the big house, $35 per person over 4 people. Small house is $100 a night. Period. $100 a night. You will be you got to share it with my mechanic / caretaker who's out there. No answer from live video guest. Hang on. I'm going to send him another one. We're going to get this figured out. Can't bring Jimmy Lewis on camera. Jimmy, if you're watching this, you bet, Joel. So we got to do this on your phone. And when you get a request, you should be like an accept button. So send us another message. I know we saw one already. Anthony Martinez, Zach Parsons, what's going on? Corey Willoughby, what is up? So yeah, we can do, by the way, we can do discounts on Basecamp for if you're going to do a full week. Talk to me. We haven't figured out the exact structure for that. Come on, Rich. No, don't work. Work is for suckers. But yeah, obviously. Hey, and by the way, if you guys are watching this, you love, first of all, thank you all so much for watching this. Oh, he had to change setting. Okay. Now Jimmy's back. We're gonna bring him on. Badoom. There we go. So now we're bringing Jimmy on. Bryce Davis, what's happening? We got a ride soon. Anthony Martinez, we're leaving here at 5 o'clock. Peach Valley 5:30. So we should be good. Here we go.
You hope so.
Nice,
my phone didn't like the orientation I had it in.
Oh, did you have it up?
Yeah, it is mad. I don't do technology that much. Not really.
No, fair enough. And this Facebook Live thing is honestly somewhat ridiculous. It's like super easy and also complicated at the same time.
Correct.
So can you see the comments that are popping up yet?
No, I can. I'm going to see if I push a button if I can see comments.
I think you swipe left or right. It's like Tinder.
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, wait. There we go. Yeah. Got it.
Boom. So now you can see everybody.
Correct.
They're going. Okay, cool. So right now we're talking about the Basecamp. We were talking about that, talking about stuff like that. So, all right. So now we got the one and only Jimmy Lewis on the line. First of all, Jimmy, for people who don't know who you are, give us just a quick rundown of what's going down, who you are, what you're doing.
Washed up ex-motorcycle racer, used to be the editor of Dirt Rider magazine for about 8 years. I run a off-road school, is my primary occupation now, and still do a lot of motorcycle product testing through Dirt Bike Test, which has editorial outlets, and you can follow us. We have a lot of the social media stuff, and then of course it's a website as well. So that's in a nutshell.
How do you find Dirt Bike Test?
Dirtbiketest.com.
All right.
All one word. Dirtbiketest.com is the easiest thing, but we have all the usual social channels, Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. So that's kind of I started doing that literally probably about 6 months after I left Dirt Rider, and then because I realized how much I like doing that kind of stuff, and it's essentially just a few guys in our spare time putting that stuff together, and we keep threatening to try to make it big. So we'll see. It's more out of my competitive nature that I want to, and then I get kind of upset when I see. I think I ranted about it the other day. We do some of this live stuff as well, and I kind of just went off on what I feel is going on. I'm like, who's in charge of these brands anymore? As far as, you used to know, and there's still a couple where, like I said, who's in charge of Motocross Action. Jody Weisel has been Jody since day one, still is. But back when I was a kid, you used to remember, you knew who Rick Simon was. You knew who Super Hunky was. You knew who Tom Webb was. It was these guys that, and Tom was at Dirt Bike, and then he went over to Dirt Rider for a while. He's editor at Dirt Rider. So you used to kind of associate, the brand with the people that were there. And now it's like, who are these guys, and how did they get there, and what are they doing?
That's funny that you mentioned that. Our rep for I won't mention who, but one of our distributors has been in the industry forever, and he has watched that company go from people, like you said, that you knew, people that were fired up about the industry, to corporate stuff. And I can say it has gone so downhill on my end as a shop, trying to get parts from those people. It's ridiculous. It drives me
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, you can always take it down to certain people are really good at doing what they do, and there's certain people that I mean, so it's in every industry and all different kinds of things. But I just and it's a lot of it's that these companies didn't make very good decisions. That's probably 80%. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what the reasons were. I was retired from Dirt Rider essentially, but I didn't agree with what the company was doing, what the company was asking me to do. I mean, they wanted to sell my credibility, and it was worth a lot at that point. And I wouldn't, I wouldn't do it. They're like, oh, we can't do this kind of testing, and you can't do this, and oh, we got this new advertiser, and guess what? Guess what you're gonna say about them? And I'm like, no, I don't have to guess what I'm gonna say about them because I'm not gonna say that stuff. So, and then we kind of had staffing cuts, and of course you started to see, this was in around 2008, you really started to see the decline of print, because that is expensive to do. And when you start looking at the business model for a magazine, they make their money by selling advertising space to eyeballs, just like all this digital stuff is doing today. It's like, how many eyeballs are going to see? Who's going to see this? And it was always the more the better. So some magazines would just give away subscriptions. I'm sure everybody got a free subscription to Transworld magazine at some point or another, whether they handed it to you at a gate when you went in a motocross track, or they got your name when you bought something from somebody, kind of a thing. And Dirt Rider never really gave away the subscriptions. For sure, we had discounted ones, so we weren't losing tons of money on the subscription, but we were the largest off-road magazine for a long time. And then you look at what High Torque and Dirt Bike has done, is they just stayed the course, and they've done the same thing. They're still doing the same thing they did 20 or 30 years ago. Now they just have like one of those websites, and they're but they're the ones that are still standing. So it's just smart business practices and doing that kind of stuff. But when we were, every few years, it was like some new company would buy us up, and then like, okay, there's this new directive, we're going to do this, and here's how we're going to handle all this digital stuff, and your staffs are getting smaller. And I've always said the internet's going to drive the price of everything closer to zero, and you can see it just in the motorcycle industry. It's like when somebody goes, oh, I'm going to buy a pair of boots, they come into your shop, try them on, and then they'll tell you how much they're going to pay for them online, and then it's like, can I have them now, or I'm going to go get them for $10 cheaper here? So everybody knows what the price is and what they're willing to pay, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, service has a certain level of value, and to some people it's nothing, because they can get their answers from YouTube, or someplace on Facebook or something like that. So
yeah. So let's talk about some dirt bikes, as we have a question here.
Yep.
And that's what we're all about, obviously, dirt bikes. Jimmy, what are you riding these days? I'm guessing that's from Dan Malone, a good friend of ours. I'm guessing he means your personal bike. I know you're riding a little bit of everything.
It's always everything. Luckily, I have close to 40 personal bikes. A lot of them are rental bikes in our fleet for the school and stuff. But I'd say lately it's been a toss-up between, I still ride the Husaberg 570 a lot, just because we've got some moisture in the ground. There's nothing like all that kind of power. And KTM 500 or KTM 350 would probably be the three main ones I've been putting time on. I haven't been doing a lot of extreme enduro, so my 200 has been sitting. I have a KTM 200, but those are the kind of bikes. And then I ride a 1090 or 1190 quite a bit. That's my commuter essentially, but I don't commute on paved roads as much as I can. I don't really commute, right, but when I run into Vegas and I can do it on a motorcycle, I sure as heck do it on that. Or I run back to California, I'll just hop on the 1090 and zip over.
And you're in Pahrump, right?
Correct. Pahrump, Nevada, which is, for people that don't know, is essentially, it's an hour outside of Vegas. Kind of when you're looking at Vegas, there's Mount Charleston. It's on the backside of Mount Charleston, closer to California. So
right on. Right on. And so here's a question we've asked, like, what was your very first dirt bike?
First actual motorcycle was a Honda CT70. And
nice.
And that didn't last very long. Actually, I think we went through two of them. We broke them in half because they had a pressed steel frame. And then for
Yeah.
my first real motorcycle, I would say was a XR80. So that was the,
Right on.
you know, I came up in the twin shock drum brake days. So yeah, I guess I got I got a taste of that.
That's awesome. We actually were just working on an XR100, an old 100, and it's so sick because it started better than the shiny fancy new one that the dad had.
Yeah.
Like they bought the kid a this hammered XR100. I mean, just like it was bad.
With
Seat torn plastic.
with low compression, those things start real easy.
Yeah, and it like the thing just like the dad had this like wicked new KTM that was it was an EXC fuel injected, so they don't it kind of sucks stock, you know. And then the little 100, he goes, and I'm like, hey man, you should have got an XR. Oh no, and all fired up. Let's see. My buddy Keith do you know a Keith from Pahrump?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't know. Is he one of the Navajo wheelie boys? We got a whole crew around here that roams the streets on the back wheel of their bikes. They've lost a few in the last couple of years. One ate the bumper of a car, you know. Stuff like that happens out here. I don't know. Is he one of those guys?
I will find out.
I don't know. No, I don't know a whole ton of people out here. You know, especially, you know, there's a lot of people that ride out here, but it's really strange. It's like when it gets 110 degrees, then you start hearing motorcycles running up and down the street, and you're like, "What are you guys doing?" You know, on the weekends when we're doing our schools, we, you know, don't see a ton of people. Actually, I try to recruit all the kids I can out here to come and help us out with the schools, you know, wash bikes and learn how to work on stuff. And unfortunately, I mean, fortunately for them, but unfortunately for me, they end up going away to college and doing stuff with their life. They want to get out of town. So, you know, dirt bikes were kind of a cool hook when they're a kid, but they want to go do things. So I don't blame them.
Yeah, no kidding. Where are you from, Jimmy, originally? I don't even know.
Ventura, California is where I grew up, my early years, and then moved down to Orange County when I took the job at Cycle World magazine in '94, I think it was. So mostly a Southern California native, and moved out here in 2000. And so I've been out here almost 10 years, really full time for about the last 4. I'm kind of back and forth quite a bit, but I miss being able to ride a dirt bike out of my front door. That's what I had when I was a kid in Ventura. In a little place called Somas, we lived right up against the kind of the edge of where the farms we were on a farm, but kind of where it was the cattle stuff started. So we just used to open a gate and go riding back in the hills. And all that time in Orange County, I just got used to 2 and 3 hours of driving to go riding, and I'm over it. So I'm over the traffic. I'm over all that stuff. So I literally can ride right out of the shop I'm sitting in now, out my gate. I go 1 mile down the pavement, and it's totally legal in this town to ride your dirt bike down the street as long as you're, you know, not breaking any rules. And I'm out on BLM land, and we have some really good riding around here, so it's pretty fun.
That's the cool thing. Montrose County, which Montrose is the seat of, is just passed in the last, I think, 8 months. You can ride legally. You can ride a dirt bike on any county road, as long as you have OHV registration, and you have to have insurance in case you slam into someone.
Yep.
But yeah, so we can ride from the shop to any of the amazing riding here in Colorado, basically.
Yeah, this is kind of rural Nevada, so they're pretty lax on a lot of those kind of rules. And currently on the dirt bikes, on the large UTVs, they want to have insurance, but on the dirt bikes, they haven't gone that far yet. So
right.
it's good. You know, who knows? I mean, we're going through an RMP here, which is regional management plan, and that could change some of the riding, the regulations for the riding, because even currently in Nevada, our area is not signed yet. They haven't done a route inventory for it. So, and there's areas that are kind of like little play areas or technically open areas. We have, you know, a lot of trails. Some of the stuff kind of got passed over for single track when they did reviews. So it's a lot of it's 2-track and roads, but I stay pretty active in the land use stuff, and we're trying to do our best to kind of keep that open. We still are able to run in the dry washes. which is pretty cool. That's one of
Nice.
the big things but that's because of BLM regulations, nationwide. That is probably going to change. That was kind of regional out here. And then we're just a few miles from California, and then basically it turns into wilderness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Another question said you raced Dakar. How was that? What year did you race Dakar?
I did Dakar 3.5 times because my first year didn't go very well. I did it in 96, 97, then in 2000, and again in 2001. And that was my last year. I had a pretty bad get off, and I really destroyed my wrists, to put it, kind of put it plainly. And I was never able to ride the same again. So, but I did it the first 2 times as kind of really a private rider. It'd be more like, not really like the Molimoto guys are today, because I did have a mechanic both times. And then when I went back in 2000, 2001, it was on a factory BMW. It was on the 900RR, which was a big twin cylinder, very fast. What a bitchin' bike. That thing was good.
Nice. Was that an R motor?
Yeah, it was the Boxer motor, and the motor was essentially hand built. They never made quote a 900, but within the rules, when you stayed under 900 cc's, or it might have been 950. I don't know. I don't remember exactly cc. There was, if you went higher than that, you took on literally 20 or 40 kilo weight penalty, and the bike was pretty light for what it was. You actually had to add that weight to make it. So, but that bike used to go 140 miles an hour. I mean, what what more do you want?
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So about your school, if people wanted to learn more about that, first of all, where would they learn more about it, and what do you guys focus on?
For the school, it's JimmyLewisOffroad.com. That's kind of our main base and website. Again, same thing. You can find Jimmy Lewis Riding School, I think is what we call it, on the Facebooks, and we do a few, Instagram posts, stuff like that. So we're kind of, I'm out there. I don't spend nearly as much time as I should doing the social things, but generally we're pretty much word of mouth. I mean, in reality, we don't do a whole lot of advertising and stuff, but we kind of cater to dual sport and adventure riders. In fact, I'm doing a school as soon as I get off this call. We have a school today here, Wednesday and Thursday, out here it's kind of revolves around an event that some guys are doing out in Death Valley. So we're teaching some guys from that event, and then a few other people. But I've been doing it since '99, so I've been doing this quite a long time, and actually got started because of when I started riding for BMW. Some guys, and this is pre-adventure riding. That wasn't even a term back then.
Yeah.
Some guys that were going to be stupid and go ride their GSs off-road in the dirt wanted to learn how to ride it better, and like, hey, that guy works for factory BMW. He must know. These were venture capitalist guys from Silicon Valley. And so we met out by Vegas, and I taught him a little bit. And one of the guys goes, you should do this for a living. So,
nice.
That's kind of how it got started. 20 years in now, we're way better at this. Our classes generally sell out, and it's interesting from teaching. What I've learned over the past 10 years is how to be a better teacher, and how to explain something that I know very well, and explain it so a regular person that doesn't know it so well can understand. And riding is really, really simple when you just break it down to its essence. So what we focus on is two things. Focus on balance, which is primary, and traction.
Yeah.
Those are the two things. Anytime something starts going wrong with your riding, like, why am I having a hard time with this? Number one, you're out of balance. And number two, you didn't understand or respect the traction you have, which is kind of you think about it, you start analyzing this and go, that works. So, and then a motorcycle does 4 things. It accelerates, it decelerates, you can initiate a turn, and then you can control a turn. And so we have drills that revolve around those 4 things. And then we just start taking these little steps. And so it seems like a really basic class. Like, I get a lot of, especially guys that want to race, and they're like, well, I really need something that's a little more focused around racing. And I'm like, The reason I can go that much faster than you is because I'm more in balance and I have better traction. And they're like, well, no, I really just want to go faster through the hoop-de-doos. Well, then you should get in balance and figure out how to get traction. And you can't teach that stuff unless you have a really basic fundamental understanding of what you're doing. And so we have ways of doing that. And it's like any other high level training that I've seen. When you have people do, like, for instance, do firearms training, you don't grab a machine gun and start spraying things. They have very step-by-step procedures for how you should do this and how you learn how you do it. And it's the same for, I mean, even in working with guys that are doing rally navigation and stuff like that, I make them come and do a very basic day with me. That's ridiculously, it's the basics. It's not the coloring book stuff that a lot of these other guys are doing. It's like, oh, here's your map book and here's your colors. No, we're going to figure out how you perceive, direction and distance and then what is important to you when you navigate. Like, in all honesty, I navigate quite a bit different than the way that Ricky Brabeck currently navigates. It's just our styles and our way of doing it. Mine's, I think it's a lot more like the way that Andrew does. It's just the kind of information we pull from the map book. So little things like that. So you start with the basics and then you start really working on fine tuning the high level things.
Nice, right on. How often do you guys have schools? I mean, is it pretty much all the time?
I would say we do like 1.5 a month. And it's out here in Pahrump. We only do them during the cool months of the year, and then come end of May. Actually, in May we have to kind of stop doing some stuff in California just because of the tortoise. So May we kind of wrap it up, and then we don't get started again until October in reality.
Right on.
So and then during the summer I usually go do a few different events, go to some of the adventure rider rallies and things like that. So yeah, and we actually have open dates right now for April. I think our April dates are up on our website, and then I think we have one class in May. So that's where we're at now. I know this weekend I have another class, and it's over full, unfortunately. Usually it was like funny. We got all these problems with people dropping. It's like last minute, life shows up and so I'm like, okay, I'll just do what airlines do. I'll overbook. Well, of course, the only one I ever overbooked on were over full and nobody's dropping out. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Hopefully, we'll handle it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What does it cost? Like, well, first of all, do you guys offer lodging or anything like that? Or
Nope.
You just need to find your own place
Yeah,
to stay?
we're kind of we have a school and we have rental bikes for the school, and other than that, people are pretty much on their own. But it's easy to find places to stay here in Pahrump. I'm actually working on a couple different things, because the other thing I've been really focusing on the last couple of years is get a tour business going. Now, I'm not a tour guide. I will tell you that right now. I'm a horrible tour guide. But in conjunction with that, we're trying to get a place where people can come and park and keep their, have a place to stay and stuff like that. So, so you kind of do your own thing with lodging and stuff like that. And so the school is currently, the price is $700 for 2 days, and then a rental bike for the 2 days is $300. And so it's like $1,000 at a package. And so a lot of people will fly into Vegas, come and take the school for a couple days. A lot of people are in Vegas for something else, and then they'll come out and do the school when we have them.
And what are the rental bikes?
Mostly, believe it or not, mostly KTM RFS bikes. And so as you know, those are great bikes, and they're almost indestructible.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you have,
unless you're some of my customers.
Yeah, well, there are those people that can break anything, and this is where I always kind of get on my high horse. I'm running literally, I have 35 running bikes at any one moment, and they run and they run fine, and I give them to people, and like in the school, we won't let them break them. And so the bike's prepped, it has a good air filter in it that stays, that doesn't let dirt through. And I'm not going to let them sit the bike on the rev limiter. I'm not going to let them, just smoke the clutch, the kind of things that do bad things to a motor. And if you kind of have a little bit of, take a little bit of care, stuff like that. Most of these bikes are really, really good. And people like asking, they're really curious about the Honda RX or the Honda X that we have now. We've got over 2,000 miles on ours. And they're like, what about the valves? What about the valves? And I'm like, I don't expect the valve to ever move in that motor, at least not for 100, 150 hours. And
Yeah.
my KTM 500s, I put a top end in my personal bike like a year and a half ago, proceeded to go out to the sand dunes. One of my kids prepped the filter, and so it sucked sand, and not a little bit, a lot. And I'm just going, geez, because I really wanted to, we were doing a durability test on a piston. So I really wanted to see how that compared to stock, because we have a really good baseline with stock. And so I'm like, okay, that's shot. Well, I'm going to have to pull this thing out pretty soon. But, it wasn't smoking. And I'm just waiting for the valves to start moving. And I mean, we're not talking like a little bit of sand. We're talking a lot of sand. I cleaned everything out.
Yeah.
I'm still riding my, that's still my, my rally training bike that I use. And I'm just going, well, one of these days I'm gonna have to tear that thing apart. So
my motors don't ever break either. I break everything around it because I crash so much.
balance and traction.
That is exactly what I need to work on, is balance and traction. But yeah, I don't know how people break things. It's well, I mean, as you would imagine, running.
There's nothing that you're going to do against the, about the crashing and the tip overs kind of stuff. That's where you kind of work on your riding a little bit and hopefully do less of that, and then that minimizes. Or if the bike never hits the ground, there's a lot of stuff that's not going to break. Then you're just going to get your weird stuff where it's like, okay, my muffler mount broke, or my skid plate, some of the bolts got loose, the skid plate flapped down and it tore something off. There's little things like that you're just not going to get away from. But I mean, as far as like these days, and we always get the question, like, what's the most durable bikes? And I'm like, man, they're all pretty good. I mean, Kawasaki and Suzuki probably hate me right now, because I always say I like Hondas, Yamahas, and KTMs, and that means Huskies as well. Because man, they're just built so well. And if you ask me which one I would prefer to work on, and I don't want to work on any of them, the KTM is the easiest. It's just the bolts are accessible. It feels like somebody who actually had to work on a motorcycle helped design that motorcycle. So it's not weird. Where you get the Honda, like, it's like, I don't think the guy who designed that engine ever had to check the intake valves on it. And I'm talking about just checking it. It's like, or he's got, I'm going to check it with this feeler gauge. It looks like it does an S turn. And so that kind of stuff, just there's things that are easier to work on. But, and I have a couple Suzuki DRZs that we use in the school, and those ones, for the most part, they work. They just leak a little bit more oil and they're old. They're 2000, 2002 DRZ 280, leak a little bit more oil than the other ones. But they're the bikes that all of a sudden, for no reason, like, a Kickstarter spring breaks. Like, why did that happen? And I just don't have that kind of stuff. If it's a KTM RFS, I know my intake valves are going to wear out after about 150 hours, no matter what. And the shift, the little shifting, the spring on the shifting detent is going to pop out at some point. And there's like one or two other little things, and it's like, those are known issues. I have those parts sitting here. It takes me 15 minutes to change.
Yeah.
Sucking water on a 4-stroke breaks stuff. Yes. Don't suck water on your 4-stroke. That's why I live in the desert. We don't have those river crossings, so we don't have to worry about it. We have some mud out here that will destroy things too, but it's usually wheel bearings and chains and sprockets.
Oh, dude, our mud in our desert that's just to the east of us I've seen it ruined. I watched a poor guy, a friend of mine. He went maybe 200 yards away from his house. He lives out right on the border of the BLM. He got 200 yards away, and it took him an hour and a half to get the bike back to his house. And an hour and a half, a clutch, wheel bearings, chain sprockets, and brakes. It was like in 200 yards. It was out of control.
Yeah, I've raced at places like that. I mean, I remember racing at the Zinc Ranch in Oklahoma, where they did the 6 days there. I did some of the qualifiers there previous to that, and that mud there, when it rained, it was like the gnarliest grinding adhesive. Oh, it's not only it stuck, but it just would wear. We were changing brake pads on our KTMs between every special test. That's how bad it was. I think we went through KTM USA at the time's entire supply of brake pads during that 4-day qualifier. It was
That,
that bad. And then there's other places that the mud goes on and it sticks and then it comes off and you have just the I don't know what is in that, but we have a lot of alkali stuff out here that's like that. And I actually watched some guys up in Wyoming last year at a rally we did. It was kind of a fun rally we did, and it rained, and the local guys go, "Don't even go out," and I'm like, "It's just mud." And they're like, "Don't even go out." And I like got geared up, and then some other guys are like, "Yeah, we're gonna go out." And then one of the old guys comes over and he goes, they're actually just seeing if you'll go out. They're telling you not to, so to see if you will. He goes, don't go. And I'm glad I didn't go because some guys got 10 miles out, and I think it did take them all day to get them back out. But it's that donut dirt that makes your tire into donut. Just packs you ride over it and you leave the dry strip.
Oh yeah, that's our Adobe dirt. I can't tell you how many people, every local has had to walk out of the Adobes at least once because they've gone out, it's been perfect, and then it starts raining and they can't get back in time.
Yeah.
And it gets so bad that they just have to leave the motorcycle, walk, and then come back out after it's dry, usually with some sort of heavy equipment, and pull it out of the mud. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's you got to be aware of that kind of stuff. And I know, like for instance, I don't have we have some areas around here where it's just kind of spotty and you can get around it and stuff. But especially with the adventure guys with the low fenders and stuff, and these guys that are kind of in areas they're not familiar with, and you're out there, and then I've had to. So I didn't walk out. I camped for a day and a half because it was like we were just going, and then it was like, you can feel it start packing up in the wheels, and you're starting to try to ride in the center more on the sage bushes, and it's like, no, this isn't working. So it's just like, find a good spot to camp, pull over, pop the tent, hang out. that's adventure riding. So
yeah, that's exactly what I say. The adventure thing cracks me up. It's usually when things go south. I'm like, all right, everybody, we're now adventure riding. This is what I call adventure riding.
Yeah.
And it turns into epic days and nights of anyway. So another question we ask everybody is, and I'm sure I know the answer because I know the name of your live show.
Yeah.
Do you like tacos? And if so, which we know you do, what are your favorite tacos?
So yes, I like tacos. I'm not a super picky eater, but I mean basically Mexican food, Italian food, pizzas and tacos, and I'm good. What are my favorite kind of tacos? Man, it kind of depends. It depends on the restaurant, what their good meat is that they can use. So we here in Pahrump, we do Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, which is a tongue twister.
Yeah.
And that's sort of our dirt bike test live show. It was really a way to force me into to kind of engage in more of the digital technology, just to do it and die on the sword when we screw up, which we do with the internet connectivity and stuff. So we might be moving out of our current location to someplace like here where I have really good connection. Especially growing up in Ventura County and in places in Orange County, if you know where to get some good tacos, you got some good tacos. And luckily, when I was going down to Baja, I was going down there with guys who really, really know the places to eat. And so luckily I have a high standard. And so, but everybody's got their own tastes.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Baja, Roger Hurd says hi.
Yeah, Roger Hurd was in the 125s out in the desert, was one of my most fierce competitors. So Roger would haul the mail, and luckily my bike was always faster than his. I'm pretty sure he won't like me. He won't like me saying that. I was a factory KTM rider at the time. I mean, I had a factory ride to race 125s in the desert, and my bike had a 6-speed transmission in it, and it all has. So, but I always like racing it. There was a pack of us. There was the K Wells and Roger and a bunch of guys we used to race with. John Brash. It was good times back in the day.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get to race with Roger in the 1,000 with Anna and Roger.
Oh yeah, yep.
In 2010. So we've been friends, and Roger actually came out and raced one of our little races we had at Enduro Cross, which is awesome.
He's claiming
Um,
he's claiming his bike was a 125.
yeah, yeah.
No, it was actually the Cowie guys actually had 125s. I was riding a 125. I know because I got torn down a bunch of times. But the Yamahas, Brash's Yamaha, nope, no,
Not at all.
Yeah.
125.
yeah.
That's awesome. Right on, man. Well, it is 8:06, and I told you we'd do a half hour.
Got it.
So we are, and I know you got a school to go to, and I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
it
no,
means a lot, and I know that everybody here likes it.
Yeah, good times, Morgan.
Any other things you want to promote real fast?
Promote now. Yeah. If people want to see what I'm promoting, they can go find what I'm doing in my on the socials, Facebooks and stuff like that. But in reality, no, I don't have enough time to consume some of this stuff. I'd like to watch it, but I'm always running around doing busy with stuff. But I always am stoked in what you're doing. I mean, you're excited. You're giving out good information, and you're always there for the kids. And it's like I don't have any kids, but I sure do like seeing kids get out on dirt bikes and have a good time and learn how to work on them, and it teaches good life lessons. For me, I'm sure it kept me out of a lot of trouble. So always stoked to see that. Glad that a lot of people are watching. That's cool. Follow us over at Dirt Bike Test. That's probably the best place, especially for dirt bikes. We hopefully will kind of kick this thing in gear. I keep saying I'm going to take a couple weeks off of the school and doing all the other crazy stuff I do and just sit down and focus and get a plan going. And so kind of go over there, like that, share. If you like what you see there, share it, because that's how we do it. It's free. It's like you don't even have to subscribe. Just share it, because like we talked about in the beginning, we started talking about eyeballs. People are like, how many eyeballs? And I'm like, we don't have a lot of eyeballs, but I guarantee you our eyeballs are your customers. These are the people that are buying your products, your vehicles, whatever you're doing. And I just want to be a kind of a trusted source of information, getting you good information and stuff like that. So anyways, well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you bet, man. Sometime we'd love to get you out. Like I said,
yeah, you sent me about
base camp could be
the base camp
a
thing.
cool place, because we're actually on the Rimrocker Trail that goes to Moab, so you can ride adventure bikes.
Yeah.
Again, straight to Moab. But wouldn't be a bad way to get out of the heat.
Yes.
And come up and teach a class and make money, because that would be way, way, way cool.
Cool.
So,
hey, Morton.
Right on, dude. Have a good one. Hit that little X. I'm going to do the outro, but have a great day, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. See you.
Later. Figure it out. There we go. Right on, everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. That was awesome. Like Jimmy said, if you like this, share it. Tell people about it. Man, I can't tell you all how much I really appreciate you watching all my ramblings and things about dirt bikes. That was awesome to have Jimmy on, who is definitely an ambassador for dirt bikes. Big time. Yeah, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Base Camp Montrose, kicking butt, taking names. If you want to book a place, send me a message on the Facebooks here. Again, if you like this, share it with your friends. Tell everybody you know about it. Yes, it's Thursday mornings. That's kind of hard for some people to watch live, but you can definitely catch it later on Facebook and on YouTube. I try to get them all up there. I haven't got the other ones. We'll get Dan Malone. We'll get him back. Hey, Punk Rock Club, thank you for watching to the end. Everybody who's here till the end, Punk Rock Club, really appreciate it. Josh Hartler, Joel Reedy, what's happening, guys? Thank you guys so much. Tonight is going to be epic in the Adobes. Absolutely epic. It's going to be so stinking good out there. Yeah, I can't wait. So we're leaving here at 5 o'clock sharp. Going to be out there at Peach Valley at 5:30. Ready to rock and roll. Riding dirt bikes, having fun, popping wheelies, flipping over backwards maybe. Balance and traction. Todd Colvin, what's happening? Very good idea. We need to get Jimmy out here. Please follow him on Dirt Bike Test here on Facebook. Follow JimmyLewisOffroad.com, I think is what it's called, and DirtBikeTest.com. Really, really cool stuff. His Dirt Bike Test is phenomenal. They tear things. He's just basically another Dirt Rider magazine, but it's free. It's all over Facebook and online. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I really hope you get out and get on your dirt bikes.